Hey everybody, it's me, Kurt, and welcome to episode 7 of Kurt's BLURTS. Can you believe it? Episode 7. Sorry that I was a little late getting this one out. I've actually had a really busy week, but I was able to squeeze in quite a lot in the few extra days that I had. So today, we are going to be talking about OGA'S Cantina at the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disney's Hollywood Studios. I have a very quick review on that because it rained most of the time I was there. So that's the only thing I really got to do. We were in, we saw it, and we left. And then I have 3 movie reviews to talk about. Okay, these are good ones too. So stick around and let's see what happens, okay? So let's talk about OGA'S Cantina at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at the Disney's Hollywood Studios. I had heard such great things about this. I was so excited to go and try it out. I thought they served food. We go and find out that it is just drinks. There are non-alcoholic and alcoholic. We only had to wait about 5 minutes to get in, so that wasn't bad. We had little reservation cards, but even with that, you just line up outside and it was very quick to get in. However, all the pictures I've seen, all the videos I've seen of this place online, it's empty inside. And so you could hear everything, you could take lots of pictures and do all that stuff. When we went, it was packed. It was raining, so maybe that's why it was so packed inside, but oh my gosh, it was packed. And so she took us to this little standing area where there were 8 people lined up, there's a bunch of those little standing tables, and the tables are only like that wide. We went in and she goes, "Oh, somebody's at your table, I'll just put you here." And she just stood us, and we were in the way of everybody, in the way of servers, a person with a wheelchair that was trying to get into the bar. They couldn't get to the bar because there were so many people in the way. It was just packed. It was loud. The people talking was so loud you couldn't hear the little robot that Paul Rubens, aka Pee Wee Herman, does for he used to be on the Star Tours ride, the little robot, and then when things happened with him, I think they got rid of him and made it like C-3PO or R2-D2 or something. And but anyway, they've brought him back. I guess his name is in good standing again. So they brought that robot back, and he's the DJ for the club. And I know that he talks and says things, but you couldn't hear the music. You couldn't hear him. You could see him moving, but it was like being at a club. And if you know me or if you don't know me, know this about me. I hate clubs. I hate going to loud, crowded places. I really, that's one of my least favorite things ever. It's just being in a loud, cramped, crowded, awful space like that. So we ended up getting 2 drinks. One was just like a pale ale, which it tasted like a Blue Moon beer. And the other one was called the Frozen Tauntaun. It's got this foam on the top of it, like a really light beer foam kind of thing on it, that when you drink it, it makes your lips and your tongue go numb. I don't know what's in it, couldn't tell you. It tasted good, it was kind of fruity tasting. Whatever was in that foam, it makes your lips go numb and your tongue go numb for a few minutes, so that was kind of neat. And then we left, because I was like, I couldn't deal with the crowds. I think I have some video footage, a little bit, of what it was like inside. Let's take a look. It's a madhouse! A madhouse! So that should give you an idea of how I was feeling at OGA'S Cantina. So let's move on to some movie reviews. Okay, so I have 3 movies that I'm going to talk about. The first one I saw was Hobbs Shaw, presented by Fast and the Furious franchise. You guys, I've never ever in my life seen any of the Fast and the Furious movies. I've not seen a single one of them. I don't know why I went to see this, other than I think I saw a preview a long time ago and I thought, oh, this looks action-packed, and I never go see movies like that. I just have to tell you this. If you're going to go see this movie starring The Rock and Jason Statham, make sure you don't believe in physics or gravity or just the laws of nature, because none of those applied in this film. It was so beyond ridiculous, but you know what? For some reason, I was okay with that because it's what you want it to be. Oh, Idris Elba, is that his name? Oh gosh, I'm sorry if I don't know how to say his name right. Idris Elba, I can't think of his, Idris Elba. He's really good in it, but he plays like a Terminator-esque kind of character in it that doesn't ever seem to die and can't ever seem to wreck on a motorcycle. And even when he does, he magically gets pulled back to it almost as if it were connected by magnets and he was a transformer and could just go and just get back on and go. You have to suspend a lot of disbelief in this movie. However, that being said, it is full of action to the very end. It gets so ridiculous that there's one point where they're fighting, it looks like in Hawaii, and there's a helicopter and The Rock is on the back of a tow truck that is being chased by this Army helicopter, and he's thrown a chain. It has wrapped around one of the railings of the helicopter so the helicopter can't get away, and the chain breaks and The Rock holds on to the back of the tow truck while it's being chased and holds the chain and is somehow able to keep the helicopter from flying away. So you have to be able to sustain that much disbelief for this movie to work. I'm going to give this movie, believe it or not, I can't give it too high of a mark, but I'm going to give it 3.5 blurts because I was entertained. I was never bored. The special effects were good. The relationship between Hobbs and Shaw was actually really funny, and not knowing any of the backstory or anything, I didn't need to. It totally made sense. It totally was it was kind of a no-brainer kind of movie. And I think for that movie, that's what you need it to be. So it was exactly what it needed to be. So 3.5 blurts for The Fast and the Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. Let's see what the next one is. Okay, the next movie I saw was Where'd You Go, Bernadette? Someone requested that I go see Where'd You Go, Bernadette? Because they wanted to hear my review of it. So I went to see it. I was one of 3 people in the audience, and this was on the day that it came out, which was really upsetting because it stars Cate Blanchett. Cate Blanchett. How do you say it? Tell me in the comments. I don't know how to say it. Cate Blanchett is how I'm going to say it. I think she is a brilliant actor. And so I sort of can't not watch her. If she's on screen, I'm just so intrigued by what she's doing. And Kristen Wiig was in it, and Kristen Wiig was Kristen Wiig. She's the nosy, know-it-all, next-door neighbor, controlling the neighborhood, controlling the school, everything needs to be perfect in her way kind of thing. Whereas on the opposite end of the spectrum is Cate Blanchett's character, Bernadette, who is this neurotic, used to be a designer/architect, who had some very famous work and was ranked right up there with Frank Lloyd Wright and those kind of architects and designers, and then sort of disappeared for 20 years. Billy Crudup plays her husband in the film, and I thought he looks familiar, and then come to find out I knew him. I looked him up later. He was in Watchmen and Big Fish. Those were the 2 movies that I knew him from. But he played her husband, and it was really wonderful. Their daughter was played by Emma Nelson. This was her first major film. I think she'd done 1 short film, and then that's it. And she was great. She was so good. For this to be her first film, it was just natural. The relationship was perfect. I know that the Where'd You Go, Bernadette is based on a book, and the book is sort of a mystery. Like, Bernadette doesn't show up for the first, if the book was literally made into a movie, it would have been like the first hour. She wouldn't have even been in it. But you can't have Cate Blanchett and not have her in the movie. So therefore, they rewrote it, and it wasn't so much a mystery. She's trying to find that creative spark, and she's lost it. And so she's an insomniac. She hates everybody. She hates all people except for her daughter and her husband. But the husband sees that she's just mentally checking out, and she can't sleep, and she never gets out of her pajamas, and she never wants to get out of the house. And they bought this girls' school to turn it into their house, and she just never gets motivated. She ends up running away. Oh, she goes to the other side of the world. She goes to the ends of the earth. She needed to find her creativity again, find what motivates her to get out of bed every morning, knowing that she can have that and her home life and her, her personal life. I was fascinated by it. It's not an action-packed anything. There's nothing action-packed about it. There are a couple of moments in the film that are unrealistic as far as, people jumping off of cruise ships into an inflatable raft and going to an iceberg. You have to sort of suspend your disbeliefs once again. However, That only happened a couple of times. What I loved about it is that there were this cast of characters that were just cameos. It was Megan Mullally, who, you know, she plays Karen in Will and Grace. She has a couple little cameos in it. Lawrence Fishburne has a couple of little cameos in it. Sorry, spoiler alerts. Should have said that. Let's see. Steve Zahn, Steve Zahn, Steve Z-A-H-N. I don't know how to say his last name, but you'll know him if you see him. He's in it, with a couple little cameos, along with Judy Greer, which we love Judy Greer. She's one of the voices off of Archer, which is one of my favorite animated series ever. She's in everything. I just saw her in Halloween, the most recent Halloween. She played Jamie Lee Curtis's daughter. But it was just these great little cameos that were just happening throughout the thing, and it just made it nice. I was fascinated. I wasn't bored. I was entertained. I thought the acting was perfect and wonderful. My wish for the movie would have been that her relationship with Kristen Wiig, the two characters, Bernadette and Kristen Wiig's character, they would have shown you more on how that evolved. Because by the end of it, it had sort of changed its perspective, and I wanted more. I wanted to find out more. I wanted there to be more scenes with them together, or a longer scene with them together, talking about the train wrecks that their lives had become, because I thought that was such a poignant part of the movie, and it was really too short for my taste. I'm going to give Where'd You Go, Bernadette 4 blurts. I wanted it to be better and have some more realistic things, but I love the relationships in it and the characters and the acting, and some of the cinematography was just stunning as well. I'm going to give it 4 blurts. Where'd You Go, Bernadette? Wonder what the next one's going to be. Okay, the last movie I saw, which I just saw it this morning as of this filming, I just went to see it, was Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I didn't want to see this. I feel if something has the name scary in it and it's rated PG, I'm kind of guessing it's not going to be that scary. And to tell you the truth, it really kind of wasn't. They tried to do several jump scares in the film, and jump scares never work because the music, if it's deadly quiet or the music does the build up, you kind of know something's coming. So it just, so it didn't scare me. The stories, I think if you were a younger kid, might be scary, like young, like under 10. Then it seemed a little too graphic or too scary for kids that young. One of the stories was this weird Mitai Do-Ti Walker something that I had to go and look it up after because it barely got explained at all. And when I listened to it online and looked up and read the stories and all this kind of stuff, I'm like, what? What? So there was a lot of that in the movie. Like, what? And it's these kids go to a haunted house in 1968 and 69, and there's a lot of Vietnam War, and it's like, I felt like the film was trying to make a political statement with TV clips every now and then on the background and all that, but and then they find this book in an old haunted house, and then the book starts writing stories, and it happens to each of the kids that were in the haunted house, and I just didn't care. And, it was just, I didn't enjoy it. It felt like a big budget B movie. Like it felt like it should have just been a low budget straight to video something. There's an actor named Dean Norris who was in it, who played the lead girl's father. And you'll know him from Breaking Bad. I know he was in that. He was in Big Bang Theory, which, believe it or not, I never watched Breaking Bad or Big Bang Theory, and I think I need to watch them both. But I know he's been in both of those. He plays her dad, and it's just kind of this useless relationship character. I don't know. One of my favorite things is that Gil Bellows, if you know who Gil Bellows is, he was sort of the little heartthrob, believe it or not, in Shawshank Redemption. He was the cuter little prisoner guy in that. Gil Bellows played Billy on Ally McBeal. He was just a heartthrob on that, but he was such a great character, and I love Ally McBeal. I love that show. So I'm going to give Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark 1 blurt. It killed 2 hours. So if you have 2 hours that you want to kill and you want to kill it good, go see that. Because it's like, oh, okay, there's stuff happening and things, and it's almost kind of spooky. But I couldn't wait for the credits to roll so I could get up and leave. So it was one of those. Okay, so those are my 3 movie reviews for this week. So I hope you enjoyed them. I hope you enjoyed this week. I hope the reviews were helpful. If any of you guys are following my reviews and trust my opinion on these, again, it's one person's opinion. I will be seeing Good Boys. I think I'm seeing that tomorrow, so that will be coming up in a future Blurts. as well as a couple of other movies, hopefully. But I'm also recording a lot this week. I've been recording a lot the past couple of weeks. Coming up in future episodes, I will be going to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. That's coming up the first couple of weeks of September. I'll do a whole blurts that's just from there. I may even do a live broadcast. Would you guys want to see a live blurt sometime and me just do a live broadcast from somewhere? Let me know in the comments if you want to see that. And thank you for subscribing to this and to my YouTube channel and Voctave.com, Voctave.myshopify.com. And make sure you go to those and check it out. And sorry again, no people from Voctave, but coming up, I promise, I've got 2 people lined up from Voctave that are actually gonna make an appearance coming up shortly, I promise, okay? And good things are in the works with us, and I'll let you know as soon as I can tell you what those are. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye!